session is going to be market research. Yeah, and firstly we are going to cover the things. We are just going to have a look like what we're going to cover for today. So basically, from a Dexel, it's going to be like if the business is product and market oriented. So we are gonna see the difference between a product oriented business and a market oriented business. We are gonna have a look into like primary and secondary research, market data. So there can be another thing like we are actually going to talk about quantitative and qualitative data, how they are being used. What actually the market research helps with the business. Like the identifying and anticipating the customer needs and stuff like that. We are going to talk about the limitation of the market research. We are going to discuss the sample size and what is bias. And we're also going to discuss the part of the ICT. I mean, how ICT actually supports market research, as well as helps, recording database and keeping the data and things like that, right? And lastly, we are going to have a discussion on market segmentation. Yeah. So actually, the slides we are going to share is going to give you a wider aspect of the, of all this content, but we are going to have a discussion based on your syllabus, and we are going to have a discussion about how different businesses are actually related, and you are going to use examples of different businesses throughout the slides and throughout the session. All right, so let's get started. Now, assume that you are likely to buy a car. Assume that you're going to buy a car, and you might be buying your first car. So what are the things that comes in your mind when you're buying a car? I mean, what are the things you're likely to think of when you're buying a car? Yeah, could you tell me? Well, what I consider that I might be considering the color of the car, the speed of the car, the horsepower. I might be thinking of the shape of the car. I mean, am I buying an the type actually? Am I going to buy an buy a SUV or a sedan, or I'm going to buy like a sports car? What type I'm looking for exactly? Yeah. If you think of an average American, if you think of Americans, I don't think they're very much worried about the fuel cost. They don't care about the mileage. But people living in the UK may consider, the cost of the fuel of the car, the fuel efficiency of the car. Yeah. I think because most Americans are using SUVs, trucks, and things like that, right? But if you think in the UK, they actually prefer, mini cars, hatchbacks, and stuff like that. So I think, these questions are often raised by companies when they're, when they're actually producing their own car for a resale, right? So car companies actually get answers to all these queries through a market research. So therefore, the market research is actually providing all these companies with the insight of the consumer behavior, right? The questions that are likely to be asked by the consumers, and the questions that consumer thinks of when they're buying something. So market research provides a business access to all those answers and helps them to identify all the questions that consumer may have in their mind when they're buying a product, when they're deciding to buy a product. Yeah. So it helps them. A market research helps the business to make the product according to the want of the customer and need of the customer. So, it kind of ensures the business that the product is actually serving the need and the want of the customers. Yeah. So that's what we use the market research for. So we'll look into that in the later part of this section. So you can see here in 1918 in the US, almost half of all cars were a Model T Ford. Yeah. So Ford wrote in his autobiography that in 1909, he told his management team that in the future, Any customer can have a car painted any color that he wants, so long as it is black, right? Now, let's come to the product and market-oriented businesses. So what is a product-oriented business? A product-oriented business is basically a business that focuses, in the production of its process, the way it actually looks into its product, and the way it concentrates upon its product, right, rather than the customer. Yeah. So product-oriented businesses are those businesses who are actually like continuously trying to develop their product, invest highly in research and development to make a better product. Yeah, they are trying to improve the production process. They are trying to they standardize their product. Yeah, they're trying to make quality products rather than focusing upon the needs or the wants of a wider market. Yeah, so basically these kind of businesses actually likes to invest a lot in research and development. They try to develop their product in every stage possible. Even some of these developments might be making the product more expensive to the customers to afford. Sometimes it can be unnecessary. Yeah, especially products such as in technology market, in like technological products, smart products. So this kind of products actually are much product oriented. Yeah. This is actually an appropriate form to run the business when there is little competition in the market. So if there is little competition in the market, and if it suits the product capacity, if you're producing a small range of product for a niche market for a limited customer, it's an appropriate way to do the business, but not always, right? Sometimes the consumer also may have a limited knowledge about the product. Think of like if somebody is like somebody is sick and needs a needs a stand in the heart, like they put a ring in the heart or stand in the heart. So being a general person, I don't have any idea about this stand. I don't know. I mean, what's the difference between a Johnson stand and a stand made in India, a stand made in China? I'd have no idea, right? So I'm going to go for anything that the doctor recommends me. In that case, Johnson can produce product-oriented stands. Like product-oriented, Johnson can do product-oriented business because being a customer, I don't have any idea about how it's going to work. It's a medical product. It's something that I don't have knowledge about. It might be the brand of the braces that a lot of us is wearing on our team. We don't have any idea which brand is good, which brand fits us better. So we prefer anything the doctor recommends, right? So that's much of a product-oriented business. When there is low disposable income of consumer, when funds are limited, customer will buy what is available. Even if that's the case, right? That might be one thing. Products such as Apple, as I always tell you, iPhones are always product-oriented. The iPhone is, they're too much focused upon developing their product. They're ready to invest, in product orientation, things like that. So they're much, actually, they're much product oriented, right? Because this is because consumers may not know what they want from technology that has not yet invented, right? Also, consumers may not want what is not yet possible, right? For say they might not get what is not being invented. Yeah. So product oriented businesses actually focuses on developing their products, such as iPhone, even Gillette razors. Yeah. As customers do have limited knowledge, or customers are very loyal to the brand, or customers want that kind of niche. Actually, they want that kind of priority, and they want to spend a lot on their product itself. Yeah. So that can be one reason why product-oriented business do exist, and product-oriented business are successful. Some are very successful in sense. Yeah. So But whereas if you talk about a market-oriented business, a market-oriented business is where customer for the business is a priority, yeah, where it is important to consider the wants and the needs of the customer. So businesses in a market-oriented business actually focus on the in the want and the need of the majority customers in the market. So the consumers are the most important factor to these kind of businesses, right? The business has a sensitivity to the customer requirements, customer wants, customer needs. A market-oriented business will focus on needs of the consumer, right? They would give priority to small detail of the product, the way the product is designed, the functioning of the product, and each and everything that the customer wants will be a priority for them, right? So they are much focused upon the the product itself. If you think of Audi, you can customize your Audi car. You can put any engine, any cc, any horsepower. You can put any color, any trim, and to your product. Like, so they do give a priority to the product to the customers before they before they provide the product customers with the product or service. Yeah, so they do give a priority to the want and the need of the customers. Then comes market-oriented example. So I'm going to show you a video here. I'm going to show you a small video. It's going to be three minutes around. And from this video, you might be able to find out two things, and we're going to have a discussion regarding this in the later part of this, right? So let's start the video.
And I'm Product Development Director at Asda. I'm here today to talk to you about our fantastic new brand launch chosen by you. Every single product within this new brand has been tried and tasted by you, the customer. We've been doing these tests independently for the last 6 months, up and down the length and breadth of the country. And only when you tell us that these products meet your high standards are we prepared to put them into our new brand. Behind me, we've got a group of people who are about to take part in one of our taste tests in order to determine whether or not these products are good enough to go into our new chosen by you brand. Let's see what they think.
Thank you very much. It looks tasty anyway.
That is really tasty.
Okay.
It's good.
How many marks out of 5 would you give it?
5.
The Mediterranean bread was very tasty. Could really taste the herbs. I really enjoyed it.
For one thing, it was so appealing to look at.
I don't feel like they've scrunched on the chocolate chunks. It's not a Scrooge cake.
It was really chocolatey. Good size, nice and big.
I like that. That's nice. That would be ideal on
really
the sandwiches
interesting,
at school.
There's a very toffee flavour in the ice cream that really stands out. And then I find it's complemented by a chocolate biscuit that's in there as well.
It's very tomatoey.
Okay, is that a light?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought the diet cranberry drink was really nice. It was nice and sweet and fruity and fizzy in the mouth.
This chocolate muffin was really good. It was really soft and chocolatey, nice, good size. I really enjoyed it.
I thought the twin pack of the beetroot and coleslaw was absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much for trying this sticky toffee ice cream.
Most definitely buy it. I really would buy it. It's gorgeous.
Bakery is one of the first areas of the store where you'll see our new chosen by you branding, and we've made quite a lot of products even tastier than they were before. We've got an awful lot of new products coming into the range as well. A couple of my personal favourites are the green olive bread, which is absolutely fantastic. If you fancy something different to make your sandwiches with, this is absolutely beautiful with some nice cheese in it. And because I'm a girl, I like pretty things, and this lemon daisy cupcake is absolutely fantastic. It has just the right balance of lemon in it, but really light, fluffy cake as well. So do go and try some of these fantastic new products from us. New products from us.
So, I hope you have seen and heard the video. So, basically, the two things we find in the video is the first thing, it's related to market orientation. It means Asda allows its customer to choose a range of products, like choose from a range of products, right? Which has been tested, tried and tested by minimum of 50 consumers in a single location, right? For an example, I'm running a departmental store, I might be having, like hundreds of biscuits to offer. But what if I'm only focused to the needs of the customer? What kind of, like biscuits do these customers all prefer? Yeah, when they're buying their products from me. Yeah, so that can be one thing, and that makes me more market oriented, right? Basically, the chosen by you range is made up of more than 300 to 3,500 own brand food products, 500 of which were entirely new, and another 1,000 of which have been reformulated, right? Means remade. So over here, one important thing, the marketing officer of Asda, the women in the beginning of the video, she said, okay, we are actually making our customers taste the product and they are judging, which means when you went through the video, you saw that people were sitting in different tables, they were labeling the product, they were actually marking the product depending on their taste, their flavor, and they were commenting one woman said that the pasta was tomatoey. Yeah, it means the flavor of tomato was very strong. Yeah, somebody there was another girl who said that it was chocolatey, it was nice and chocolatey. Yeah, so these are actually kind of comments, like they were passing through. So what happens is later in the video she said we offered some of the some of the products directly, like as customers recommended, and we changed some flavors in it. Yeah, so some products were, like the products which was rated by the customers, like positively, they actually marketed them directly into the markets, into their super shops, and the products which the customers thought like they needed change, yeah, they needed a change. Actually, they reformed the product before they put it into their shelves. So that's what happened. So that's what makes Asda more market oriented. One more thing that you shouldn't have missed in this video is that we discussed consumer panels earlier, where the business actually to test their product with the help of the consumer, group of consumers who sits and tastes the product, yeah, and who later complements the product itself. So that's not one thing you should not miss. So I have I'm going to discuss this during the primary market research section. Yeah. So how do we decide if our products are going to be market oriented or it's going to be product oriented? Yeah. So that's actually that's something the business actually needs to decide. So what happens whenever you're talking about a business? Whenever you're talking about a business, it needs to decide that if their business is going to be market oriented or product oriented. If the business is going to be market oriented or product oriented. Yeah. So when you actually think like that, we need to focus on few things. Yeah, we need to focus upon few things before we do that. So I'm telling you in a while. Okay. So whether the business actually places a great emphasis on the product or on the market will depend on a number of factors, such as the nature of the product. What will be the nature of the product? Where a firm operates in an industry at the age of the new innovation, such as biotechnological, pharmaceutical, electronics, it must innovate to survive. Although a firm may try to anticipate consumer demand, research is often pure research. The researcher does not have a specific end product in mind. It may also depend upon the policy decision, which means the objectives of the business, how the business sets its policies, the technical quality and safety of safety. This may also depend upon, like they have influences upon the decision. The views of those in control. Now, it depends upon the management, the owner, and those people in the higher, control of the business, who actually is who's the accountant, who's supposed to have the accountability and responsibility for the business management. A lot depends upon their point of view, that either the business is going to be product oriented or market oriented. Then comes the nature and the size of the market. What kind of business are we serving in? What is the nature of the business? Or what is the size of the business? Then comes the